On April 27, 2011, a storm system wreaked havoc on the southeastern United States, resulting in 122 tornadoes in one day. That evening, one of the tornadoes touched down in the East Tennessean town of Newport. The storm cut across the district, uprooting trees and power lines and causing damage to homes, the local high school, and businesses. One building afflicted by the high winds that night was the Tanner Cultural Center. The roof was mangled, allowing rain to flood the interior, which eventually led to deeper structural issues, including a crack in one wall that made the facility inoperable. At the time of the tornado, the Tanner Building was home to several organizations that provided vital services to the community. Each month, approximately 2,000 people came to the center to receive services, attend meetings, or participate in activities. Located in a poorer sector of the city, the Tanner Building provided easy access to those who most needed assistance. Historically, the Tanner Building is much more significant to the citizens of Cott County than just as a location of government offices. In 1924, it opened as the Tanner Training School, a high school for the African American students of Newport. Every black citizen of Cott County can trace their educational heritage to the school on Mulberry Street. Over time, the Tanner School has stood as a pivotal institution, a symbol to one community, marking a turning point as the first higher educational school for African American students during the era of separate but equal, and its later closure due to desegregation provided increased educational opportunities. The 1896 Supreme Court case Plessy v. Ferguson formalized segregation laws in the United States. The case determined that a Louisiana law requiring separate but equal facilities for white and black passengers on railway cars was constitutional. Because of this decision, many states used the separate but equal doctrine to segregate African Americans in transportation, recreation, and eating establishments. The idea of separate but equal carried over into education. Students were segregated into white schools and colored schools. In education, it soon became evident that the segregated schools were anything but equal. Black teachers got less salary than teachers at the white schools. The books were hand-me-downs from white students. Black schools tended to be overcrowded with too many students per teacher and not enough desks for all the students. The buildings were often of poor quality. All of this is evidence of poor funding for black schools. Like most southern towns, Newport, Tennessee did not provide equal educational opportunities for their black peoples. Newport is located in eastern Tennessee in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains. Traditionally a farming community, Cott County had a population of 20,000 in 1920, with approximately 750 black residents. This African American community longed for their own school. An 1895 petition to the school board requested financial aid for a colored school consisting of 40 scholars. Eventually, education for elementary black students began in small schools located in the communities of Dawson's Valley, Allen's Chapel, Old Town, Gum Springs, and Dutch Bottoms. Pupils who wanted to go beyond elementary school had to attend private schools in other towns. In 1924, John M. Jones promised funding for a black high school if the African American community promised to vote for him for mayor. Jones won the election and fulfilled his promise by passing a bond for civil improvements, but that was not enough to complete the project. For many African Americans in the early 20th century, education would have been impossible without Julius Rosenwald, co-founder of Sears and Roebuck, and generous benefactor of more than 5,000 schools across the United States, aimed at educating the next generation of black students. Cott County applied for and received a Rosenwald grant to complete the new building. To overcome the problems often faced by black schools, Tanner High School had to meet certain requirements established by the Rosenwald Fund. These requirements include site size, length of school year, sanitary measures, new blackboards, and new desks for each classroom. The opening of Tanner High School was a turning point for black scholars because it offered them the opportunity to further their education beyond 8th grade. Former Tanner students fondly remember their teachers and the lessons they learned at the school. Carlene Robinson said her teachers emphasized their need to develop self-reliance and self-esteem. Esther Houston Vassar says her teachers taught her to look at the world outside of Newport and make us believe we could capture a part of that world and make it a part of our lives. Her teachers taught her that she can compete in a world filled with people that were taught at bigger and better equipped schools. Vassar later attended the historical black college, Howard University. In 2009, she was appointed by President Obama as the Assistant Administrator for Regulatory Enforcement Fairness in the U.S. Small Business Administration. Despite the best efforts of the teachers, Tanner students still lack some much-needed amenities. Both Vassar and Robinson mentioned the absence of scientific laboratories. Vassar also mentioned the lack of extensive libraries. Robinson and Linda Hampton Parker identified outdated textbooks as a problem, along with a limited number of supplies. Robinson also said that Tanner did not have a band and sports programs that other schools provided. Like the students at Tanner School, black students across the country faced inadequacies compared to their white counterparts. In the 1954 landmark decision, Brown v. Board of Education, the Supreme Court ruled segregation illegal. Chief Justice Earl Warren said, "We conclude that in the field of public education, the doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Separate educational facilities are inherently unequal." But the days of separation were not instantly over. Of 136 public school systems in Tennessee, 21% had to be desegregated under court order. Clinton High School was the first Tennessean school to be integrated in 1956. The National Guard had to protect the 12 black students from an angry mob outside the school. In Cocke County, courts and law enforcement were not necessary to desegregate, though it came 12 years after the Brown decision. In the spring of 1966, parents received a letter informing them of Cocke County's plan to desegregate and combine the Tanner High School with the newly built Cocke County High School that had opened its doors in 1964. The letter explained that Cocke County schools were being desegregated to meet the requirements in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to eliminate discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin. Desegregation included extracurricular activities and transportation. The new African American students quickly found places on the sports teams and in choral groups, but it is not until 1970 that the first black students appeared in the Student Council yearbook picture. Desegregation was a turning point for black and white students. In a study conducted by Rucker Johnson, he concluded that black students that attended desegregated schools earned more money, were less likely to spend time in jail, tend to be more healthy, and were more likely to graduate high school. After desegregation, per pupil spending increased to an average of $1,000. Another study revealed that students that attended desegregated schools were less prejudiced later in life and were more comfortable with people from different backgrounds. One white graduate said, "Growing up in a racially integrated school, I think, was invaluable for me. It helped my people skills. It gave me the ability to relate to just about any person and to be sincere, not putting on an act. I can't put enough value on it." Newport citizens demonstrated this acceptance when they elected Tanner graduate Roland Dykes Jr. as mayor in 1998. He served until his death in 2005. His son, Roland Trey Dykes, also a former Tanner student, was elected as mayor in 2018. Trey Dykes says, according to his research, Newport is one of the few predominantly white towns in East Tennessee to have elected 2 black mayors. Desegregated schools also lost a sense of community for those students. Carlene Robinson spoke of the feeling of home at Tanner School. All the staff were people from our neighborhoods and our local churches. She said that the feeling was lost in desegregated schools. She does not blame the students of Newport Grammar, where she transferred. It was the season of change, and I think all of us Afro-American children felt it and we dealt with it. The Tanner School closed its doors for good in 1967. Over the years, the building has served the community in various ways. It has housed a food distribution charity, the Senior Citizen Center, and at one time the Department of Motor Vehicles. Following the destruction of the 2011 tornado, the East Tennessee Preservation Alliance listed the Tanner Building on the Endangered Heritage Site. In 2012, the Tanner Preservation Alliance took up the cause of the former school as an important historical site. With the assistance of several grants, the City of Newport, in partnership with the Walters State Community College, restored the historical building. The Tanner School building is a symbol of changing opportunities. Today is a place that provides service to everyone, housing government offices, including the Department of Tourism. In January 2021, Walters State opened the Newport Center campus on the upper floor, once again providing a space for learning, this time to all citizens.